Welcome to Unstoppable Purpose in Motion, brought to you by INCRadio, Washington, D.C. This morning's discussion is about how to stay true to your purpose while adjusting to life's changes. We'll share stories of flexibility, resilience, and how to pivot when needed without losing sight of where you're headed. So, we'd love to hear your stories. So, join us in our discussion because together we can inspire and learn from one another, but at the same time, celebrate the journey we are in. But before we start, I would love to introduce our guest for this morning.
Hi.
Hey everyone.
I'm Alexis.
And I'm Jim.
And from the
We're from Washington, D.C.
the local congregation of Washington, D.C., District of Washington, D.C. Okay, so before we continue with the discussion, let's talk about our previous episode last week, which was being surrounded by growth. So I want to ask you, with your surroundings, how do you grow as a person?
With our surroundings, I think it's all about who you surround yourself with.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's most important. So I think that's most important. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I absolutely believe that. I mean, even when I was a single man, the person that I would look for is someone who has a stronger faith than me, so that I could always get pulled up to have a stronger faith.
That's so true.
Always someone who's way above, higher than me when it comes to the growth that I'm aiming for.
Not only growing in different aspects, but especially your faith.
Yes.
Yeah, I like those. But we also want to shout out our our comments for this morning. If we can have our voice for today to give those shout outs in the comments.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nidel, and I'm here to share the comments from today's show. So I'm very excited. So we have Priscilla Batan. She gives waving emoji. Junalyn Surieda, happy watching po mula sa lokal ng Wawa. Hi. And we have Brian Torres, happy listening from Washington, D.C. and would like to greet my beautiful wife, Rose Ann, and our gorgeous daughter, Winley. Hi, Brian. We have Alexis Mera. Ooh, looks familiar. Sounds familiar. Christina Lazaro, good morning and happy Saturday, po, brethren. Greetings from Bowie. Janet Gonzalez, good morning, po, to all brethren. Hashtag Waldorf. Lionel Ornado, good morning, everyone. Hello to our early birds. We also have Joyce DLZ, a blessed Saturday, but to everyone, hashtag Waldorf. Wow, Waldorf is really, really here. Thank you. We have Lizelle Castro. Good morning, brethren. Getting ready for Care for Humanity, hashtag DC. Nathaniel Russell. Good morning, DC. And we have last one, brother Alban Caturiano. Good morning, po to everyone. Care for Humanity activity in Baltimore, hashtag Anne Arundel. Back to you.
Thank you. Shout out to those comments. So, for our discussion, we also have our question of the week for our chat. So, our question is, do you find it easy or difficult adjusting to change? So, we'll be sharing your answers all throughout the show, and we'll also be reading them out loud. So, we look forward to those every week. So I'd love to ask our guest, do you see yourself as someone who adapts to change, or does it take time for you?
So I guess when it comes to change, I think change is never easy, but I think there are ways that you can kind of make it easy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when it comes to the time that it takes to make a change, I think it really depends on what is the change. Like, is it a drastic change? Is it a small change? And is it a change that you've ever tried before? I think it really depends.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, for me, it depends.
Okay. What about for Jim?
I think change is necessary. I think it's the one thing that's constant in our life is change.
That's
and
true.
I think it just depends on what the change is, but definitely change is something that for me, it takes some time to adjust to what it is. Like, for example, for my faith, it wasn't always like this in the very beginning, but it was something I had to be open to changing that to be better. So, and that took some time, and it's still it's an ongoing change that keeps getting better and better. So.
You think it changed from how you look at it now from before? Because, as we are adults, during our younger years, do you find it like, do you still look at change the same way, or has it changed?
I feel like the younger we are, the easier it is to change, because when we're young, we're sponges. And I'm just thinking of like from like a nerd standpoint of my background and knowing like the brain anatomy and physiology. Yeah, children's brains are more susceptible to change. And the older we get, if we're not used to constantly teaching ourselves how to adapt to things, then it gets harder the older we get.
Okay. Wow. The more you know. I did not know that. What about you? Has it changed?
My brain has changed. Yeah, absolutely. I think my perspective with change has definitely changed over time. I'm definitely more open to it now. I do agree with you that when you're a child or younger, that change is way easier to accept. And growing up, experiencing life and everything, that's when change kind of becomes kind of like a fight. But at the same time, it's necessary. And I think I'm in a point in my life where I know change is a good thing. But I definitely believe, I back then, it was something that I like to avoid as much as I can. But, when I got married, life got fast. A lot of things are changing constantly.
Wow. Okay. Wow. I like that answer. Can you think of a small change you had to adjust to recently?
A small change that I had to adjust to recently, it was a change that I made on my own, because my clothes are starting to get tighter. So I'm going to the gym now. I'm making time for the gym. Even if it's late at night, thankfully I have like a 24-hour gym that I can go to, even if it's just 30 minutes a day.
Yeah, that's true. A little stroll is fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, consistency is key. So.
Wow. Yeah. It's a small change, but later on, it's going to be a big impact.
Exactly.
Wow. That was a great example.
Thanks.
That was a great example. And that's a great example for me also trying to get to that change. It's like, like I'd like to be in there as well to, join you in the gym and be able to accept that change. But it's like a step by step for me. You know, like at first it starts with like walking. I guess a good example of what you were asking is a small change, right? A small change that happened recently is that I now travel to work. I now work closer to my home, so getting adjusted to like from driving to work now taking a scooter to work.
Wow, that's so cool.
Oh, actually, another small change is the weather.
Oh, yeah.
So now we have to make extra time to put more layers on.
Yeah.
Especially as a choir member. When we change into our uniform, we have more layers that we need to work with. I noticed that the other day. I was like, oh, wow. I need to make more time.
That's true. Yeah, even with the cold, for me, honestly, I need more time to wake myself up because when you're cold, you're in bed, you have a blanket on you, and you're just so comfortable. It's hard getting up when you're so comfortable. So that is a change we do have to adjust
But
to.
I will say, because we're in D.C., because I know not everybody watching gets to experience the weather, the weather change, because we get 4 seasons here.
Yeah. So I think we do have a comment. Let's see what it is.
So we have Justin Talayoga. He says sometimes it can be hard to adapting to change, but embrace it. From Nathaniel Russell, change is opportunity, but not all change can be good. Depends, yeah. And then we also have From Joyce DLZ, change is not easy at the beginning because of the unknown. We usually feel anxious. That's very true. Back to you.
Oh, those are nice
those
comments.
are great.
Yeah. So, do you usually like to have a set plan, or do you prefer to figure things out along the way? So basically, are you a
Both.
planner?
I think it's always, for me, yes, have a plan, but at the end of the day, God's plan is always the best plan. He always knows what's better than us. And there's so many moments in our lives because we're married, by the way. I don't think we covered that. We're married. Because there are many times that we'll come up with a plan for the future, even the near future of like, what are we going to do tomorrow? But, God will always, I want God's plan to always come into fruition over my own. So that's kind of my mindset around that.
Same, yeah. Sometimes you're like, oh, I want this to happen. But at the same time, like, you realize God's plan is literally, like, the only thing that's happening. Because
Exactly.
even, like, right now, like, this is God's plan. You know what I mean?
Right now. Yes, actually, a great point.
Yeah, I say both because exactly that. We'll have like plans put in our calendar of what we're gonna do the next day, or like what's gonna be upcoming for the week, whose birthday is coming up. But ultimately, it's God's plan over ours. And sometimes things happen and plans change, but we always believe that it's what's meant to happen, and it's God is guiding us with whatever plan He has in store for us. So that's why I say, like, we can make that plan ahead of time, but
It's good to be
whatever
fluid.
happens,
Yeah.
whatever happens is God's plan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just be
for
ready
sure.
for him to throw us a curveball.
Right.
Yeah. Be prepared. That's
Yeah.
one thing, too. Prepare
Yes.
yourself. Has there ever been a time when the flexibility actually worked out better than your original plan?
Flexibility. All
I
right.
feel like
you first.
flexibility is important,
Ah.
too, though. Like, when you're planning, you have to know how to be flexible.
Yes. Let's see. Sorry, I didn't come prepared for that question.
That is a very good question.
I'm actually thinking.
I want to hear your example.
Yeah, let us know in the comments
Yeah.
while we're thinking.
Let us
Help
know.
us come up with an. I'm sure there's plenty of examples. Actually, I remember you were telling me one time you planned to go to college away from DC, but then you were telling me this. Remember, you're like, if I chose to go there years ago, we wouldn't have been together.
Oh,
We never would have met.
Yeah.
So that was like a flexibility that
It
you
worked
were-
out, actually.
Yeah, you were willing to have,
Right.
right?
I think a recent experience was actually the U.S. Special Choir Gathering that we had in Texas, and I had originally planned to have a car there. I rented a car, and there was a game that was happening there, so all the cars were like all gone.
A football game because it was in
Yes,
Dallas.
There was a football
Yeah.
game in Dallas that was happening. So I was willing to be flexible of like, what are our options, So when we got there, they said that they had no cars, and I had this was the fault was on my end because I scheduled it for the wrong time. But we were willing to be flexible, so we weighed our options and kind of see like what is the best option for us. I definitely think that was God's plan for that to happen, for me to make that mistake. Some things would have probably happened that didn't happen because our plans changed. So
It kind of forced us. I thought you were getting to this point.
Yes.
You're about to get there. It kind of forced us to hang out with our friends because one of our friends, shout out to Lawrence De La Pena from Philadelphia. He was so kind enough to offer to drive us around.
Yes.
So very grateful for that, because if we had our own car, we wouldn't. It would just kind of
That's so true. Like, you're
Yeah.
going your own path. I mean, not path, but you have your own plans for that day.
Right,
But then you
exactly.
ended up hanging out with friends, and then that built more connection.
Right.
And you grew closer to them.
exactly.
God's plan.
I
like,
know,
you believe?
right?
So can you tell us about a situation where adapting led to unexpected growth or opportunity? Maybe you can share about your marriage, your college life, how you moved out.
Yeah, actually, marriage. Marriage really exposed me to a lot of my weaknesses in myself. Hey, where do we go with this? There's a lot of things that
she's
were
like,
really
"Oh, there's a lot."
really exposed. What was the question again?
Where adapting led to unexpected growth or opportunity.
Okay, so we definitely had to adapt to living together and coordinating our lives together. And that caused me to become a better communicator because I had to consider him now. And it's like, whoa, I didn't know how to communicate well. I wasn't as good of a communicator. And then we've had these conversations where it's like, I don't know what you're thinking. Like, can you tell me so that we can work better together so we're not rushing to church on Sundays?
That's true. Especially when you're different from each other. One can be like, "Oh, I'm taking my time," and the other's like, "Okay, we got to get this done and that done."
Exactly.
They're always so in a rush. Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow. The question was adapting.
That led to growth or
growth.
opportunity.
So this was a story when I was 19 years old, and I wanted to become the LP, which back then was a local producer for INCRadio when we used to have him in our locales. And our Kadiwa president had gotten married, so nobody was willing to take the mantle to become Kadiwa president at that time. So I took that opportunity to adapt. Like, instead of me becoming LP, this position is much more needed now. And I was 19 years old. I didn't know what I was doing. But I loved the support that I got from my kuyas and ates that was willing to help me grow to be able to handle a position like that, because it is a lot of responsibility, especially for a very young person. You know, I was still in college. You know, I didn't have money. So, like, when it comes to, like, activities, it was me learning how things worked and like how people worked. So a lot of help came from them. So I think that was a God's blessing for me as a young person to become from a young man to now a grown
An old man.
Where was I going with this? I was like, what's the word?
A grown man. So you became a better leader.
Yes, exactly.
In that experience.
Oh,
so
yes.
nice.
So that was adaptability to like a good growth.
Yeah. Before we move on to our next question, let's ask our chat if there are comments.
So we have Yvette Beleza. She said, I set aside time to dilly-dally. And that's funny. We have Laura J. Evangelista. I'm sorry, Laura. I used to plan I used to plan and overplan a lot. There we go. But now I just like to choose a destination and figure it out along the way, and learning that it's okay for the destination to change along the way. Very true. And then we have Leandra Laziste, a defined plan, but with flexibility to pivot. Ooh, yes. And Nidal Ann, that's me. I said, yes, I agree, Laura J. Change is a way God is trying to guide you. Your plan is just a blueprint, and then the final product is what God truly wanted for you. Joyce DLZ said, we have to be flexible to minimize frustration and disappointment. Sometimes great things always happen when you least expect it. Back to you.
Nice.
Thank you.
Very good.
Okay, so I kind of lost where we were. Okay. Have you ever struggled to let go of your original plan, and what helped you adjust without losing focus?
Wow, that's an amazing question.
Back to you. Okay, we're getting a little vulnerable here, but that's okay. Struggling to let go of our original plan. Okay, let
me think.
In the comments, let us know what we're thinking here.
We could go back to that.
Yeah.
How do you decide what to hold on to and what to adapt in challenging times? Like, let's say, let's talk about you moving from Virginia Beach to our district.
So repeat the question one more time.
How do you decide what to hold on to and what to
Oh,
adapt in
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
challenging time?
How do I decide? I think what's so important first to prioritize is what is your identity? Who are you? Like, do you want to prioritize who you are as a child of God? And that was something that I always asked myself when I moved up here, because moving up here was a very vulnerable time. I was 18 years old.
Oh wow, that's a pretty young age.
Exactly. 18 years old, I was moving to a university, and we all know what is in universities. You know, not everybody there is a church member. We're surrounded by temptations, and that's you're stepping into the adult world coming from being in your home with your parents, which was such a comfort zone.
Yeah.
And so now it's your turn to step up for yourself and take yourself to your doctor's appointments and book them for yourself.
Yeah, that's so true.
And you know, I was looking for my own parking spots on university and walking to my dorm, and the weather would get really cold. And when I would get sick, who would take care of me?
That's true, yeah.
My mom would take care of me whenever I got sick for 18 years. But after that 18 years, I had to figure it out. So what was the question again? What are we getting?
Like, what did you hold on to?
Oh, what did I hold on to? I held on to God. That's for sure. Because through all those struggles of change, I needed to hold on to God, or else I would have gone, you know.
Yeah, because he's the only one guiding you.
Exactly. I had to trust that all of this was happening for a reason, for a purpose. Or else I had so many moments where I thought of going back home and just giving up.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many moments like that.
So was there a point like, okay, I want to go back home, and then something hit you like, okay, I'm going to keep going?
Absolutely. When I'd be, like, straight up, I'd be sick. I would be walking in the cold to my car, going to class, driving myself to church, and just being alone. You know, I felt very lonely because my family wasn't around, because I was always used to my family being there. Even after worship services, and especially after special worship services, everybody would get together with their families and take photos.
so true.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's just me.
Especially when you're like very family oriented.
Yes, I guess I am family oriented. So what I chose, that's really what what I base off of, what to hold on to and what to let go of. I had to let go of the people who I really liked making new friends in college, but I had to let go of the ones who would not serve that identity as a child of God. You know, I had to let go of that if I wanted to continue to receive God's guidance and blessings, because life was really hard at that time.
Like, you knew that you really needed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh God, God, I really need your help, because life is really hard right now.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know that the people I'm surrounded by, they're not in alignment with that. So I had to let that go. And that actually circles back to what I said in the beginning of who you surround yourself is most important.
That's true. So you think in that moment when you moved to our district, that's when you realized you can adapt to change easily? Or
I mean, I didn't realize right away, but it was a number of experiences that God just led me and helped me keep going, so that I didn't give up and go back home and drop out of college or switch colleges. Because I think also an identity of me is also, when I start something, I finish it.
Oh, okay.
I started it and I was like, I said, and
There's
also
no turning back now.
Exactly. And when I say I'm going to do something, I do it.
Oh, that's a good trait, though.
Yeah. Thank you.
That. Yeah.
Praise God.
What about for Jim? I want to ask, like, okay, so when you got married, what did you hold on to, and like what to adapt in those times? Because I know marriage isn't always perfect. You have those challenges where you guys can possibly clash, and you have to learn from one another.
Wow. That question is great. I think, what did I hold on to? I think it wasn't much of like, like holding on to something was not the hard part for me, because we shared the same values. Before we even got together and got married, we knew exactly what we were expecting when it comes to like our values. And I guess the adaptability just kind of comes with it. Our schedules, how I do things, how she does things, how she fixes her hymns, how I fix my hymns. That was a lot of like adjustment in that area. But we both know that we want to fix our hymns. So, so it's like getting used to.
I'm like, you're taking too long.
And I'm like, it's gonna be fixed.
I'm like, no, I do better.
Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, that's definitely something that we worked on a lot when it comes to adapting to that. But definitely something that we held on to is that same values that we have for each other. That being our faith, our family, and all of our friends and loved ones in here, and our duties especially. That was always going to be number one, and that was the easy part. The hard part was just how we did it. Just being able to adapt to that. So a lot of like communication helped us to adapt to that. A lot of prayers together to make sure that we have the a heart for understanding of one another. Because I think, when God is happy when we're united. It's not about being right. It's about being in unity with what God wants for us. And we've received so much blessings just from following that. So.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the other question. Have you ever struggled to let go of your original plan, and what helped you adjust without losing focus? Because I like what you said, when you think of something, like if you say you're going to do something, you're going to finish it.
No, I like that you helped me think of an idea of like when I moved here from Virginia Beach, which is, for those who are not part of this area, Virginia Beach is like 4 hours away south of DC. That kind of gave me an idea of my original plan to be a physical therapist. And I actually have a Faith Speaks talk.
Oh, yeah.
Little plug there. Go on INCmedia. But don't. Choosing physical therapy was my original plan. But as I was pursuing that, the pandemic hit.
Oh, yeah.
And so my senior year of pursuing that 4-year journey of getting my bachelor's, the last year I was quarantined, and everything did not happen as planned. I didn't have a proper graduation. My chemistry lab was not a proper chemistry lab. I had to make all of these crazy adjustments that none of us were ready for. And I'm sure others, can relate to whatever else they were striving for during that time.
Yeah.
And so that time really helped me realize what life is really about. And I learned a lot about myself. I was like, oh man, I'm attaching my self-worth to a career. And that really gave me a chance to reflect on, I'm more than just a career. So and I mentioned that because along the path of pursuing physical therapy, I was losing myself. I think mentally, physically, emotionally, I was exhausted. And I don't know why. God just works things the way that he does, because he does good for those who love him. And I just kind of I took a step back and I prayed to God, what is it that you really want from me? What is most important for me in my life and what I need to be pursuing? So pursuing physical therapy, it wasn't economically, it wasn't very financially smart, especially with our goals. Getting married, really, life really got real. And we were like, okay, we need to really actually look at life, for what it really is. What's the most important? Our faith. So is going to school, getting into debt, and then having to, use a lot of our time to work to pay off that debt. How is that going to help us in the way that we want to serve God? And the things that we've been able to do for church, we just really want to be able to do a lot. And we were like, okay, working a lot is not going to really it's going to take us away from that. So what can we do to help us, have more time for church, more energy for church? And so I didn't pursue that, or I kind of stopped pursuing that And then we started looking into like entrepreneurship because we actually met brethren who are entrepreneurs. And they're like, yeah, I have more time for church. I have more time for my family. And I was like, hey, that sounds like maybe something that we're looking for because we want to prioritize our values. And so now I'm happy that we made that shift. And I mean, I'm still working in healthcare, but ultimately, like, that's not really my number one goal anymore because now I'm choosing to prioritize, my values rather than a career.
Wow, I love
So-
that. That's a great answer, actually. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's that's a great answer. And
He's like, yeah, what she said.
what you said. Could you repeat the question
Yeah,
again? I just want to make sure that like I'm gonna answer this.
Have you ever struggled to let go of your original plan, and what helped you adjust without losing focus?
Oh, okay. Wow. I've definitely had to adjust to my plans. I guess a quick background is that I graduated with a computer science bachelor's degree, and that is not what I'm doing now. Yes, I'm somehow I ended up doing some communications and finance, and I'm just adjusting to what God has in plan for me, because when I was pursuing computer science when I was in college, I applied to a lot of things, and then pandemic hit, so that was kind of like a roadblock for me at that time. And I've had interviews as well, and they just didn't end up. I just didn't end up getting the opportunity that I pursued, and that's when I know that God was trying to pivot me to do something else. So I was very open up to like any opportunities that came my way. So we, like my wife said, like what Alexa said, that we are now doing entrepreneurship outside of like what we do in our jobs, and all of those skills were kind of built up because I was open up to learning more on what God has in plan for us. So it didn't end up in what I had studied for and what I got in debt for, but very grateful for those opportunities. Don't get me wrong, because I'm fully now aware what God wants for us, because He gave us a vision for our life to pursue our number one value, which is our faith. So everything that we do, everything that we're pursuing and doing has to align with what our goals are, that what we want for our church as officers, what we want to do for the church, what we want to do for the future generation of the church, and also for our family and our future generation with our future children as well.
So it was, all in all, I'm like going back to the question. I'm like, I don't know if I answered it. Yes, it was a struggle to let go of that original plan because, like I said, if I say I'm going to do something, I do it. But then I just prayed.
Yeah.
That was the solution. Just praying for guidance of what direction should I take? Which path is really the one that you want for me? So.
Well, especially in like times where you're confused of where you are.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
It was a very confusing time, when we were all quarantined.
Yeah. Like, where am I supposed to be?
Yes, exactly. Well, where do we go from here? Like, when are we going to get to leave our house?
Yeah.
So,
And I think this was from the previous episode that you guys had. Sister Lizelle said something very profound that I definitely related to the most. When she said that everybody, I think it was Lizelle. Correct me if I'm wrong.
she's there in the comments, I see. Hi, sister.
Yes, she mentioned that everybody was around her was like getting internships and other opportunities, and I'm like still in the same position that I was. So I was feeling that same way because I was trying to pursue that career in what I studied, but that's just not what God had planned for me, So I was very open up to, a lot of praying, a lot of giving up what I had to, giving up what I had originally planned for myself. And honestly, I'm now living way better than I was before then when it comes to me pursuing my plan. And now I'm just letting go and letting God.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that even ties with our discussion last week too, because like with these changes, if we have the right people around us,
Oh, absolutely.
Exactly.
the support they give us is like,
Exactly.
so it makes you grow.
And we
love that.
believe, we always say, we believe God brings the right people to our path at the right time.
I talk about that with my sister too. It's like, can you look back like with the people we have around us now from like even a year ago? Like it changes. And there's a
Exactly.
reason to why it changes.
Exactly.
Oh, change in friendships and growth. Wow, look at us. And who or what has helped you stay on track when circumstances force you to pivot?
Who or what? Honestly, I was straight up. The church administration through the worship services. And we know, they're guided by God.
Mm-hmm.
So it always goes back to God. He always sends the right lessons, the right ministers to our path at the right time. He always knows what we need to be hearing in the worship services to help us stay the course, stay on track.
That's so true. Love that.
Absolutely agree with that. I guess a firm example of that is that on a Bible study on a Friday, all of our guests kind of canceled last minute for us to have that Bible study, so it was just us. But Brother Bren, shout out to Brother Bren from Washington, D.C. I love you, bro. Yeah, he gave like a short lesson for me and Alexis that really helped us strengthen our faith to like not give up, that God sees the work that we do, regardless it's not showing fruit, is that we're planting seeds. And, whether we see that seed grow, it's maybe it wasn't for us, maybe it wasn't for the guest at that point, but he also said that us being there inspired him to also do better, to also do better, to level up in his faith. So maybe it was for that, So,
and he definitely reminded us that the work that we're doing every time we do invite guests and share our faith, God sees it, and like you said that, but also God is with you every time you do that.
Yeah.
So it's just, when we were being reminded that in that moment, I was like, wow, I think God really meant for this moment to happen where our guests were not available, our Bible students were available, so that he could like tell us that, so that we don't stop.
That's
Yes,
so
exactly.
true. Wait, I want to shout out Brother J. Rich Cambronero, because he told us the same thing, because it was only me and my sister. And like, it's that slow grind. Like it's gonna be worth it at the end.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Well,
I just want to say one thing, because we're talking about changes. Everybody should go watch Making Changes by INC Media.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
You can go on
This podcast.
Spotify. Can I say that? Spotify, Apple Music.
even YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Very great podcast from our brethren around the world.
Yeah.
Different stories of making changes.
They do a great job over there. So shout out to INC Media in the West Coast.
Yeah, shout out. And speaking of shout outs, we'd hate to let you go, but do you guys have any special greetings?
I'd like to greet my husband. Hey. Also, I see my family in the chat. Brother Joshua Reyes in Brazil, thank you for all the work that you do there, Brother Joshua. And then I think I saw my parents, Sister Laura J down there in Florida. Love you and miss you up here in the unstoppable Washington, D.C. Sister Lizelle said hi, guys. And shout out, of course, to our local congregation, Washington, D.C. And we love this district, Washington, D.C., because everybody here is truly unstoppable.
For sure.
100%. Want to give a shout out to my family in DC, my grandparents who are now here. They're like 90 years old, and they flew from Philippines to here, and this is their first time out of the country, out of Philippines, out of the country, and their first time here in America. So shout out to them. Thank you for being here with us. I don't know if they can understand this.
Should
I say it in
We'll pull
Tagalog?
up a translation app.
Tagalog? How do I say that in Tagalog?
Well, they speak Messiah, so.
I'll say it. Yeah, I can do that.
He's like being pressured behind the scenes, like say it.
welcome po, Lolo Lola. I think they know what welcome is, so.
Aw.
Glad to have you here. I don't know how to say that now. I don't know how to say that in Tagalog, but
His Tagalog translator turned off right now.
it's turned off. We're live.
And we also want to read a few comments. I think we have a few comments, correct?
Yes, good conversation to all of you. We have Marvin who said holding on to that feeling of unconditional love in marriage is key, and he put a key emoji. We have Lizelle Ramirez thinking I want to pursue nursing all my life, and for it to change during the pandemic was hard. A lot of restarting, but knowing I have a supportive family and friends, trusting in God's plan and timing keeps me motivated.
Absolutely.
And we have Nathaniel Russell. He said tuned in while making breakfast. Great convo and inspiring. Back to you.
Thank you for those comments. And a message to our listeners. We may stumble, we may pause, but with God's help and with the strength that He has given us, we rise. We continue to press onward, and that is what makes us
Unstoppable.
But before we go, we'd love to extend our heartfelt thanks to those that make it all possible. For their unstoppable support, we'd like to thank our INCRadio Washington, D.C. family for supporting our broadcast, especially to Brother Sidney R. Santos, our District Supervising Minister, Brother Richard Soterio, our Assistant District Minister, Brother Ajik Dulay, our District CFO Overseer, Brother Tyler Warden, District Multimedia Advisor, Brother Emmanuel Andaya, our Executive Producer, Brother Raleigh Taray, our Station Manager, and our dedicated INCRadio Kuya Techs here and in the Philippines. Special thanks to Brother Angelo Eraño Vimanalo, our Deputy Executive Minister. We would like to give our special thanks to Brother Eduardo Vimanalo, our Executive Minister of the iglesianicristo Church of Christ, for allowing us to have programs like today's show here on INCRadio. Thank you for tuning in and spending part of your day with us. If you like today's show, be sure to give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on what's coming next. Until then, catch us again next week here on Unstoppable Purpose in Motion every Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And remember, stay inspired, stay connected, and most of all, stay
Unstoppable. Have a great weekend. See you at Care for Humanity.
See ya.
With God's help, we become unstoppable. With God's help, everything is possible. All of the accomplishments are remarkable. Others can hate, but they still can't stop it though. We move forward, never ever stumble. With God blessing us, we still stay humble. And through the struggle and all of the trouble, our work we redouble.
Through the good and the bad, we remain victorious. We return all the praises to our God so glorious.